do you really think that these people from all over the world that are sending me these images are using bad photographic equipment? Do you really think that they're all lens flares? Do you really think that we're trying to deceive anybody? What possible benefit could there be in trying to deceive somebody that a planetary system's coming our way? Think about these things for a second with me. We're looking at things that we haven't seen before. And these are the kinds of things that we have never seen before. Orbs up in the coronasphere. These are all new pictures, by the way. Or objects in the coronasphere. This is a clear sunny day. This is using a very fisheye lens in order to see what was up there. We've never seen stuff by the moon like this. We've seen objects by the moon throughout the last 2 years, but never have we seen it this clear where we could clearly distinguish between what we were seeing as the moon and another 2 objects up there. Some people tell me that these are objects that have been predicted by Egyptian mythology. We've never seen these types of things before, you guys. This stuff is shocking to me. Look at the shadow going across the lake from this object in the sky. Look at this orb over here by the ISS captured yesterday. We've seen these things before, slightly, faintly, but they get clear every single day. Here's that same orb. The same orb we see here was photographed in Australia here. Here's another shot of it. What about the 2 suns that we're seeing everywhere and that we're photographing? Yeah, some are lens flares, I'll admit. But how do you explain something like that? Or how do you explain the weird, odd things that are happening in space with our astronauts and with the ISS? Look at this huge... Did he drop something that just floated off into space? I don't know. Or what about what we've learned recently about refraction now and being able to defeat the lensing system? Will you go out and try this experiment? Will you actually take a mirror and project the light onto another surface to see what's actually behind the sun? We've come up with the formula to defeat the lensing system. Let me prove it to you. Here's a random photograph where we actually see, this is before this person took this photograph, didn't even know about this technique. But basically, because the water was there and it broke and slowed the light down, as Star taught us yesterday or earlier, we can actually pick up the objects that are up there. Remember when she took the 45-degree and she just showed it on the black reflective surface here of a Samsung, back of a Samsung phone, where you actually can slow the light down and see what's up there? Are you going to try that experiment? Or are you so skeptical you won't even try or look? Is it cognitive dissonance? Here you go. You can actually see the upper edge of this from another Earth cam. Same thing. Same thing. So why do we even do this? You know? Why do I even put up with this abuse that I have to take every single day? Look at this 2-sun photograph. Look at the red blood moon that we just got from Arizona. Hi, Kaylee. Kaylee sends me these pictures all the time. What about these the orbs that we're seeing? I'm getting ready to show you a photograph that's going to blow your mind. These, a year ago, would have gone viral on the internet. Is it because we're like frogs in the water? Here's the picture I wanted to show you. This is from the ISS, you guys. Yep. There it is. There's one of them anyway, right? So why do we even do this? Well, believe it or not, guys, I'm compelled to tell you the truth about what's going on in this world. And what the whole reason for the signs and wonders in the sky and the heavens that Jesus foretold was that we would be able to have time then to repent and come to our senses when we started seeing this stuff in the sky, understanding that our lives are temporary, that this world is temporary, very temporary. Even anything you're going through right now is temporary. This is a stopping point for the human race. It's not our home for eternity. You should know that. And we've allowed ourselves to get so wrapped up into this fear, greed, worldly, loving the world that we forgot all about our spiritual heritage and the kings and priests that you're meant to be. Kings, queens, and priests of God. Sons and daughters of God. And all God wants from us, the Father wants from us, with these signs and wonders and the cleansing of the earth that's coming, is to bring his sons and daughters home. So let me encourage you with something here. I'm not showing you these things to be afraid. I'm showing these things to you in hopes that you will recognize these are the signs that were promised. And those signs were to lead you to a conclusion and to lead you to your knees of humility. It's not to be argued over what God is doing in the heavens. The sign of September 23rd was exactly that. It was the harbinger of the tribulation. What does that mean? Well, it means that wickedness is going to end, guys. And it might not be very pretty. And what you'll need to understand is that you need to give your hearts totally over to the Father. You need to return to the Creator. You need to love each other. You need to forgive each other. You need to forgive yourself. It's time to move into grace. It's time to move into love and peace. That's what these signs are meant to do, not to cause fear. Remember, it's temporary. Everybody that's listening to me, you will one day breathe your last breath. So the fact that we have a disaster around the corner with this Planet X system isn't the important thing. The question is, are you ready? God bless you, Steve Olson, WSL.
Exposed. Nibiru cover-up, NASA withholding the truth about Planet X. U.S. Space Agency NASA is involved in a major cover-up over the threat posed by a mythical planetary system, it has shockingly been claimed. Conspiracy theorists claim Nibiru or Planet X is a huge planet with a vast orbit that will one day pass so close to Earth that its gravitational pull could wreak havoc on our planet, triggering earthquakes and other catastrophic events. Nibiru, or Planet X, believers claim it is currently heading towards Earth and is likely to pass before the end of the year, but NASA and world governments are desperate to keep it quiet to avoid mass panic. The theory suggests that the global elite is preparing to retreat into a series of underground bunkers to try to escape the catastrophe, while the rest of us perish. At the forefront of the claims is Nibiru conspiracy theorist Matt Rogers, who posts almost daily videos to YouTube suggesting he has evidence that the plant system is drawing nearer. He claims the authorities cover this up using chemicals sprayed into the air to try to block out visible signs of Nibiru. In his latest video on his channel Skywatcher Matt Rogers, he said, NASA is covering this up with the government, the shadow government. They really do not wish for the public around the world to take any notice. They still think the majority are being dumbed down by the truth, but I'm afraid more and more people are starting to look up to the skies and noticing the true situation. Every day they are covering our skies. With the media still silent, it doesn't matter, because we know this is coming. However, Mr. Rogers suggested the masses could fight back. He added, "We have got to be truthful, we have got to be positive, and we have got to be sting for the community. We have got to stand our ground, and don't be misinformed. A crucial part of this evidence is thinking outside the box, and thinking for ourselves. Let's not let them think for us." Fortunately, NASA insists that believers like Mr. Broussard are completely wrong, and the Nibiru myth is an internet hoax. NASA scientist Dr. David Morrison said, "There is no credible evidence whatever for the existence of Nibiru. There are no pictures, no tracking, no astronomical observations. I can quite specifically say how we know Planet X or Nibiru does not exist and does not threaten the Earth. Firstly, if there was a planet headed into the inner solar system that was going to come close to the Earth, it would already be inside the orbit of Mars, it would be bright, it would be easily visible to the naked eye, if it was up there it would be easy to see it, all of us could see it." Space boffin Dr. Brian Cox has also insisted Planet X does not exist. Associate Professor Honty Horner, an astronomer at the University of Southern Queensland in Australia. He said, "I've never heard of anybody who's an actual astronomer talk about Nibiru before. It's basically an urban myth. It's like having a biologist coming out and talking about werewolves and the Sasquatch being real. You just wouldn't hear it." The Nibiru myth was born in 1976, when writer Zecharia Sitchin claimed two ancient Middle Eastern cultures, the Babylonians and Sumerians, told of a giant planet that orbited the Sun every 3,600 years.
And I'm going to show you a couple really interesting pictures. This particular one is interesting. Just look at it. We've been looking at a three-planet configuration, or hologram, depending on who you are, for quite a while now. And my voice is a little messed up right now because I was working out in the cold all day today. It snowed up here and the Great White North. Anyway, the reason I wanted to get on even when my voice isn't working is because I have been looking and seeing all over the Nibiru community, the Planet X community, too much strife, too much division, too much hatred, too much jealousy, too much envy. And these negative emotions that have been fermented in this community that struggles to try to maintain some type of unity and harmony, it's just gone too far. And so tonight, I just wanted to, while you're looking at this extremely convincing picture of an approaching planetary system to our Earth, we all agree that Planet X is real, or at least many of us do. Most of us do in this community. And that is a common insight that is not shared by a lot of people in the world. Some would call us insane or crazy. We can't even share it with our friends or relatives. We can't even share it with people that we're very close to, like husbands and wives, girlfriends and boyfriends, sons and daughters. Yet, we've allowed this spirit of contention and spirit of hatred and spirit of conflict and mistrust and fear to enter our community in a way that is not conducive to us having a positive outcome. So I'm begging you, if you feel strife in this community, know that it's not coming from God. Know that it's not coming from love. And know that it's all designed. It's all crafted. It's subterfuge. It's on purpose. Because, guys, if this is all coming down the way it's coming down, the way I see it coming down, there's going to be a critical period where independence is going to be required. There's not going to be help coming from the federal government or anywhere else, unless that becomes your last resort. And what we want to do in this community, the preparation should mean something. The research should mean something. The work that we've done these last 2 years should mean something. And what I really pray and hope that it means is that when and if it happens and goes down where there's cataclysm, we're going to need each other desperately bad. We're going to need each other. And, you know, it's not going to matter if you're a Unitarian or a Catholic or a Protestant or a Hindu or a Muslim. It's not going to matter. Because we're going to be fighting for our survival. And it requires unity. They want us to go into this with as much discord and as much mistrust as possible and fear. And it has to be fought. You have to push it back. You can't allow bitterness, unforgiveness, wickedness, envy, false witness, threats, fear, intimidation should be no part of this community. I'm going to show you one more picture. I'm going to let you go. Yeah, it's getting weird. And we know that there's all kinds of forces at work. There's all kinds of things that are happening. Some of this is artificial. Some of it could be projected. And again, I go back to whenever we collaborate and we start to strengthen each other with knowledge, where you can show that I was incorrect or slightly off and vice versa, our knowledge gets better and sharper. That's why they want us divided. So I'm begging this whole community to stop and think. If you believe that this is real based on the evidence that we all have shared together and worked on so hard together, then it is also incumbent for us to lay down division and see each other as the fundamental essence, which is a human being. And that alone deserves.
There's a whole lot of shaking going on I'm serious, folks. The earth is a shaking and quaking. The devil's back is breaking. My mind is aching. I mean, seriously, the apocalyptic, catastrophic, if we're not careful, cataclysmic events could be coming upon the earth as the 5 waves of energy is putting pressure. But it's not just the 5 waves of energy. We also have solar flare, high solar winds. Matter of fact, I'll just tell you what that is right now. The solar winds are right now roaring at 498,000 kilometers per second, roaring right off the sun, headed toward the earth with a gaping hole in the sun's atmosphere. It's not slowing it down at all. Earth facing 498,000 kilometers per second. And here's what the results of all of this pressure has become. 42 earthquakes in the last 24 hours, including last night's 7.2 powerful quake off the coast of Fiji. Now, the U.S. Geological Survey has downsized it to 6.9. But listen to the last 24 hours. What has taken place on the earth? 2.8 British Virgin Islands. Let me just give you the big ones. 4.7 Fiji. 4.5 Futuna, 4.2 Chile, 5.1 Burma, 4.9 Fiji, 5.5 Chile, and then we had the big one, 6.9, now that's been downsized, Fiji, and that one was big, 5.7 Aftershock Fiji, 4.2 Bulgaria, and then there was a 4.9. 5.8, very shallow, 5.1, all in Fiji, 5.6, 5.0, 5.0, 5.4, all in Fiji, as those aftershocks of this powerful quake. We had a 4.6 hit China, and then we had a 5.7 in Vanuatu. We also had a 4.2 earthquake in Afghanistan, 5.0 Fiji, 4.8 Indonesia, 5.2, 5.0, 5.5 in Fiji. And they're all very shallow. So, man, I'm telling you, folks, we dodged a bullet on the tsunami. We dodged a huge bullet. As shallow as this quake was at 6.9, 7.2, it is a miracle we did not have a massive tsunami. 4.9 Indonesia. We've had a 4.9 and a 4.8 in China. 4.9 was Chile, 4.8 was China, and 4.3 Alaska, and a 4.6 just hit Burma again. So 42 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Including that big one that hit Fiji and all those powerful aftershocks. The whole earth is shaking and quaking. Matter of fact, the Bible told us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 20, the earth shall reel to and fro, shall rock to and fro like a drunkard. Okay? And so we're watching and witnessing these signs of the end times. Jesus said there'd be earthquakes in diverse places. And we know prophetically there would be many earthquakes have already happened on major biblical milestone historical events, but there's others to be prophesied yet to come that we're keeping a close eye on. We're truly living, folks, in the last days. Don't miss today's live broadcast. My guest today will be Dave Hodges from the Dave Hodges Show. So it should be a very powerful broadcast. We're going to talk about Obamacare, the battle on the Hill, the Trump mandate that seems to be already in play, and a whole lot more. Okay, so we're going to really take a look at some of America's political issues and some of the struggles that's already taken place on Capitol Hill with the Trump mandate coming into play. All right, we'll tell you all about all those things and the earthquakes and everything else that's happening around the globe on the coming apocalypse. Don't miss it. 12 noon Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. So get a fresh cup of coffee And let's get ready to rumble, because that's what's going to happen today. We're really going to dig deep, all right? Are you serious? Are you saved? Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Planet X! Well, I know a lot of people are concerned about Planet X and all of the 5 waves of energy and how the heavens are shaking. But today, an asteroid is going to come very close, less than 50,000 miles from the surface of the Earth. This thing, the name of this asteroid, nobody's talking about it. It's amazing to me, but I'm looking right at the charts. Right now, on this November 2nd, there is 1,739 potential hazardous asteroids, not going by the Earth today, but are on their way. The one that's going to go by, there's 2 of them going by today, too, but one is very close. The one asteroid that's going to go by today is 2016 VA. It is 0.2 lunar distance. 0.2. That means it is less than 50,000 miles from the surface of the Earth. The moon is 245,000 miles, give or take, because it kind of varies. But just go with 245,000 miles from the moon to the Earth. This asteroid is way closer to us than it is the moon, all right? It's also 16 meters in size. Pretty big rock. If it was to come crashing through and do a deep impact, it would create a catastrophic event. I'm telling you. It doesn't take a big rock to create a ton of damage. Good news is, this one is not going to hit us. But there may be some other smaller debris, some other debris that's going to swing by. This thing's coming by way too close to not be bringing some smaller companion rocks with it, all right? So heads up, big time, as this goes by. It's 2016 VA. Also, another asteroid will go by, but don't worry about it. It's 7.1 lunar distance, so it's quite a distance away. And it is called 2016 UX5. But it's not going to bother us. It's this one that's really concerning. Very, very, very close at 0.2 lunar distance, and that is asteroid 2016 VA. And remember, there is, identified by NASA, 1,739 potentially hazard asteroids that will be called near-Earth objects that will be going by the Earth in the coming days and weeks. Now, there's been unbelievable, spectacular auroras that were visible in the skies, especially directly under the Arctic Circle. Incredible aurora outbursts, they're called. Mike from around the world told us this was going to happen. And he said if it does happen in a lot more than normally, then it means that the 5 waves of energy are affecting our magnetosphere around the Earth. And we've already heard BP Earthwatch tell us that it is definitely being affected, that CERN may have some role to play in that, but certainly the waves of energy are affecting our magnetosphere, our protection, our force field, if you will, to protect us from radiation and UV rays. And with the sun having this massive hole on it, its solar winds are releasing clear shot at us because there's nothing blocking them up there at the sun. We're getting poured on with UV rays. We just got to pray there's not a massive solar flare, an X flare, which could fry power grids. I mean, seriously, we are getting those reports even from the federal government of the danger of that could happen. So even though the auroras are beautiful, and we're going to be showing you some pictures of auroras and things today on our live broadcast if you're at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's paulbegleyprophecy.com. So there's some incredible stuff going on. But one more thing I got to share with you, and that is last night we had 36 fireballs in the sky reported all over the world. 36 different fireballs around the earth. Every night there's usually a few, but man, this was a lot. 36 last night, and with this asteroid coming, I'm wondering if some of this could be some debris ahead of this asteroid that's going to go whizzing by the earth today. Extremely close. I'm talking extremely close. Getting very close to even the satellites that orbit the Earth. And I'm sure that the guys in the space station up there better keep their eyes open as this thing goes by about 48,000 miles from the face of the Earth. That's incredible, okay? Very close. It's 16 meters in size. But 36 fireballs last night reported in the skies around the globe in different locations of the Earth, okay? So there's a lot of activity going on. I'm going to talk about all of this. I'm going to put the link below. You can actually look at the beautiful pictures of the auroras. You can see the trajectories of the fireballs. And you can also see the chart of the asteroids that are coming. I'll put the link below. And if you want to see some unbelievable, spectacular visuals of auroras and fireballs and things, you don't want to miss our broadcast. Starts at 12 noon Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. Now you say, what has this got to do with prophecy? Jesus said that there shall be great signs and fearful sights in the heavens. I'll read the verse for you. It's found in Luke chapter 21. If you go there with me, just a couple verses. You know, Jesus said there'd be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts would fail them for fear, for looking after those things that are coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, he said, look up, lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. Well, in Luke 21, verses 10, it says, Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Well, those fearful sights and great signs are being seen.
System are becoming much more intense. We are in an ever-increased geophysical shift of the poles, which can be seen in an ongoing Earth wobble. This, in effect, is giving rise to ever greater Earth changes. To understand how much Earth wobble has progressed in recent years, we need to look at the horizons of the Earth as a giant clock. So if you look directly due north, that would be 12 o'clock, east would be 3, west would be 9, and south would be 6. Before 2000, the sun rose at the 4 o'clock position and set at the 8 o'clock position. Starting in 2005, the sun rose at the 3 position and set at the 9 position. The sunrise-sunset positions progressed still further north until in 2014 the sunrise position was at 1:30 and the sunset position was at 10:30. In 2015 the summer sunset positions dropped back just a bit. Coincidentally, the position of the sun at high noon at the summer solstice, which is June 21st, also changed. The sun at high noon on the summer solstice used to be in central Mexico. In 2005, it crept north until it was in central United States. By 2014, it had reached the U.S.-Canadian border. That's about a 2,000-mile stretch. In 2015, it dropped further south again. As of 2016, the sun's position was at around 41 degrees north latitude. Now, this position could change yet again. All this abnormal sunrise, sunset, and high noon positions are due to the Earth wobble and a shifting of the geophysical poles. Now, the big event, the flip of the poles at the tipping point, is yet to happen. As this phenomenon increases steadily as the Nemesis Nibiru system advances on our location, Earth changes will increase and intensify dramatically. Researchers predict that Planet X, Nibiru, comes directly between the Sun and the Earth. It will position itself right on the ecliptic and will therefore cause a great solar eclipse. Here are some important questions that require our attention if we are to fully understand this planetary system. Is Planet X Nibiru, Planet 9, ready to show itself in 2017? And if so, what will it bring with it? Are Nemesis and Nibiru hiding behind the sun? Will Planet X bring a pole shift? With so many people wondering about other world affairs and not looking to the sky, could Planet X already be showing itself? In January 2015, Bob Fletcher predicted that martial law would be invoked in the U.S. within 6 months of the worldwide naked eye observations of objects in the Planet X system. NASA, the Pentagon, and the CIA are knowledgeable of the approaching rogue planet. The Vatican has also been briefed, but the public is being obviously misinformed about the approaching apocalypse. What the public has not been told is that the decade-long litany of global geological and meteorological calamities is caused by Planet X-provoked solar excitations. Before leaving office, President Obama gave a speech on global warming and signed an executive order to prepare for space weather events. In his proclamation, he acknowledged the real possibility of an end-of-life as we know it event taking shape on the planet. Again, we must ask ourselves, why was this said, and what could be achieved by making such a statement? The evidence to support this is overwhelming. What's happening on Earth is an indicator of this. Dozens of volcanoes erupting at the same time. The number and intensity of earthquakes dramatically rising. The elite hurriedly constructing heat waves that are stronger and lasting longer. Events are now in place that will pave the way for the great event to take place. Massive object Planet X, even before it had been sighted by the infrared astronomical satellite. Astrologists, ex-government officials, political insiders are all saying the same thing. Something ominous is on its way. The world is sinking deeper into chaos. We do not have to be told this by the mainstream media. We can see it for ourselves. Moral degradation and corruption are leading to the collapse of society and civilization. The earth is prime for cleansing. This has happened before, and it is very close to happening again. The signs of its imminent approach can be seen everywhere. It can only be accomplished through the wrecking ball of civilization, the incoming Nibiru Nemesis system. People everywhere are sensing something is about to happen, even if they can't quite grasp what it may be. NASA must sense that the public is increasingly aware that something other than global warming is behind the mysterious and sudden changes that are taking place here on Earth. Since they can no longer keep their secrets from being known by others, why not pass the responsibility of announcing its existence onto the public themselves? Let those in the public mainstream be the ones to locate its presence, and that way NASA can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. What an ingenious way to announce its presence and not be held responsible for keeping it a secret. But there is still another more obvious problem that must be resolved. How do we tell the public that there is a new solar system with 7 orbiting bodies in our backyard without creating pandemonium? The answer is simple. Just tell them that it is 40 light years away from Earth. But how could this system be trillions of miles from Earth and still be seen by infrared cameras and webcams? That couldn't be possible unless, of course, the system is much closer than what we are being led to believe. As you're probably aware, over the last decade, there have been many end times predictions. The apocalypse, the return of Planet X, a nuclear holocaust, even an alien invasion. And to date, not one prediction has come to fruition. Most of us searching for the truth become disillusioned. We quit getting prepared due to pressure from others, including our own family. We get labeled as having what's been described as the Nibiru pandemic. If things are normal, which at times it seems to be from the outside, then why look for darkness in the midst of the light? It's often hard to understand why these emotions run strong in some people more than in others. The changes to our planet are very subtle and slow, and there are few red flags to raise the alarm bells all at once. The major problem that stands between reality and a false flag is the fake news that floods the web by those whose only purpose is to gain attention. These people are not helping expose the real truth. There are governments that are preparing for a major event, and it does not matter which event it may be. I have doubted myself at times, but then I go back to the basics and look at the increase in the activities that are going on around the world. The massive floods, the volcanic eruptions, the earthquakes, and what is happening in our universe and the planets that surround us. Some of you may follow those more famous so-called experts on Planet X, and after their predictions did not happen, then the doubt began to set in. To save face, these experts would reset the clock, and the process would begin anew. Let me say that these experts need to be very careful when making such predictions. They are not helping anyone, and in fact, they are doing harm. That's the very reason I have avoided making any such predictions. There is no one on this planet, including myself, who has the keys to both time and space.
Weak. On the sky has a new object, weak, faint, reddish dot, until it is observed.
Planet X will fly around the Earth so close that the consequences for the Earth and for all humans would be catastrophic. Because Planet X is much larger than Earth, the gravitational field of Planet X will be much stronger than the Earth's gravitational field. Devastating effect of the field of Planet X. It is approaching the Earth from 2012. It will change the axis of our planet and shift the poles of our Earth. Global cooling, new ice age, and world floodings will lead to extinction to all species on the Earth's surface. 2/3 of the world population, or almost all, will die.
We are forbidden to talk about the existence of this unknown Planet X or Nibiru. Remember the name of this planet because it is approaching our planet. In 1972, Joseph Brady of University of California discovered that some unknown planet causes gravitational disturbance of the orbit of Halley's Comet. Planet X is 5 times more massive than the Earth. This information was quickly closed down, referring to the error of the research apparatus. Long experienced employees of NASA suppressed or hide the existence of Planet X. All the information about Planet X are severely protected, and not permitted to be publicized. Repeat of a worldwide flooding. The rescue team will only be drowned themselves. Information about Planet X are now concealed. There is no program, not even one documentary film produced by NASA to reveal their research about Planet X. It makes no sense for them to be silent about Planet X, and hide away their researches about such giant red planet rise above the horizon of the Earth. 2012 Planet X was seen by naked eyes all over the world, especially from the directions of the southern hemisphere, Antarctica.
It is a celestial body larger than the size of the Earth and 5 times. The strength of its gravity is so powerful that will even change and tilt the axis of our planet Earth, and it will cause polar shift, causing magnetic shift to the poles, and then our planet would collapse unprecedentedly, and lead to powerful floodings, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, and tornadoes of unprecedented scale. In 1978, American scientists stated that in our solar system, there are not only 9 planets as officially accepted by worldwide, But in fact, there are 10 planets. Planet X moves in space at an incredibly elongated orbit, and it comes to the Earth approximately every 3,600 years. They are unable to capture Planet X in the outer space. However, in the early 1980s, after lengthy mathematical calculations, and the construction of new computer models, the existence of this giant Planet X has been proven.
In 1982, NASA agreed that there is a large planet, which they named it Planet X or Nibiru.
In 2005, American astrophysicists announced that is approximately from the distance of 1 light-year of the Earth, there is a huge cosmic object. A giant planet exists. This giant Planet X is approaching our planet Earth at an enormous speed. Planet X is so very dark that with the optical telescopes and other instruments in 2005 are unable to capture it. The visual records of Planet X were only provided until 2007 by NASA, when the new heavy-duty infrared telescope was launched into the orbit. What the U.S. astronomers see in the photographs made telescope for a long time threw them into a real shock. In the black void of outer space, we clearly see the outlines of a huge planet. Undoubtedly, this is Planet X. They also name it Nibiru.
And in the coming years, this Planet X will fly at a very close distance to our planet Earth, which is gonna be only several hundred kilometers from us. Being so close to our planet Earth, Planet X could easily disrupt the atmosphere of the Earth, causing unprecedented cyclopean tsunamis, earthquakes and a new worldwide deluge. The scientists have also found that Planet X has already destroyed another planet in the past. Many years ago in the solar system, there is a planet named Phaeton existed between Mars and Jupiter. The fragments of Phaeton is now in solar system as asteroid belt. The belt of asteroids is an ancient fragments of the planet Phaeton. Planet X encountered with the Phaeton, as it once again passed through the solar system. After sun a blow of this giant Planet X, the planet Phaeton shattered into pieces. In Slavic Vedas, Phaeton is called Light Dea, which means this planet destroyed Draco, reptiles and Unity. According to US scientists, the government simply